Welcome to Cure Connections. Thank you for joining us today. I am Martha Raymond, founder of the Raymond Foundation, executive director of Michael's Mission, and the co-chair of the GI Cancers Alliance. Cholangiocarcinoma is a rare type of gastrointestinal cancer that forms in the bile ducts. We are very fortunate today to have with us Sarah Bennett, who was diagnosed at the age of 30 with this rare disease. Welcome to Cure Connections today, Sarah. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Because you were diagnosed at such a young age, and you're still a very young lady, what was that like to be diagnosed so young when all of your other, friends and family members are at a very different point in their lives after a diagnosis?
Being diagnosed at a young age is very overwhelming. It's especially with a rare type of cancer like cholangiocarcinoma. I was on this mission for the first few months to find somebody my age who survived it. Because when you read the statistics, it doesn't look great. And I thought, oh gosh, this is it. So let me find someone who's survived it, who's my age, and that I know I'll be okay. So I went on that for a while. And then, through social media, you meet people and you connect with them. But, it's hard because I'm a mother.
Right.
My son was 18 months when I was diagnosed. So not only did it, overwhelm me and impact me, but the whole family.
Right. And with that, with your son, and how old is he now?
He's 4.5.
He's 4.5.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I just would, being so young, a young mom, a new wife, how did you put that all into perspective to be able to be that mom, to be the wife, but to also be a newly diagnosed patient?
Short answer is I felt like I had no choice. That's what you do. You wake up and you still a mom. Just because I have cancer doesn't change me. I'm still a mother, I'm still a wife, a daughter, a sister, you name it. That hasn't changed. And I remember when I was a child hearing my grandmother say that her memories of her mother was that she was very sick and always in bed. And I thought, that's not going to be me. I don't want Austin to grow up remembering me sick and ill and not being able to do stuff. So
right.
I pushed through it.
When we talk about the new normal for cancer patients, I know that sends shockwaves to people, and I agree.
Yeah.
But for lack of a better term, how was that adjustment to that new normal as a 30-year-old with a little boy and a husband?
Part of me wants to say nothing really changed, but let's be honest, it really,
right.
Emotionally and mentally, everything changed because it's always in the back of your mind.
Right.
Thinking about, your future and, if you're going through treatment, how you're going to feel and right. Your future again. And then, there were points where I was considered no evidence of disease. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't just go back to life being the way it was because you're always thinking about, is it going to come back? When will it come back? It's always there.
Right. And I think some patients will say, this new normal, it changed them a little bit for the better, or it made them think about things maybe they hadn't thought about before. Did you experience any of that?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
But I think but then really when I think about it, yeah, because my perspective on a lot of stuff has changed. Mm-hmm. Why wait until you're given this terrible diagnosis to do the things you want to do?
Right. Right.
Just do it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of living in that moment.
Yeah, I know it sounds cliche, but it's true.
It sounds very cliche,
yeah.
and I think people use that a lot, not really accurately.
Right.
When they say stop and smell the roses, but truly if you do stop and you look at those roses and you say, my gosh, they're beautiful and et cetera. I think so often many of us, we just kind of go through the motions and we're not really in that moment.
Right, that's true.
So I think in my experience, many, not just cancer patients, but I think if we look at cancer, many times it's more of a chronic disease, we can all learn from that, that it's so important to really cherish those little things.
It's true, especially with holidays. When I first was diagnosed, it was in the summertime, and then I was going through chemo, so you had, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And I was in the moment because all I kept thinking is, what if this is my last one? And here I am 3 years later.
Right.
But I still, every time, it's like,
Right.
let's take that family photo. I drive everybody nuts, but
Oh,
I
no.
need those photos.
Absolutely, and to make those special memories,
Yeah.
it could just be something very small, but absolutely,
True.
it's so important.
Yeah.
Have you been able to work during your diagnosis and treatment?
So I've kind of sporadically been at work, off of work for the last 3 years.
Right.
You know, my first time it was about 10 months, the 2 months for recovery from surgery, and then
Sure.
about, maybe it was a little longer or shorter, I don't know. But, the 6 months for chemo.
Sure.
And then I went back to work for about a year.
Uh-huh.
And then it came back. And then I took the time off again with the clinical trial and chemo and other stuff because I didn't know how my body would react
Right.
and how I would feel. I don't exactly have an easy job.
Uh-huh.
So, I wanted to be able to focus on myself and getting better.
Absolutely.
And I felt like working would kind of be hard to do that.
Right, and it's wonderful you had kind of that luxury that you didn't have to be at work.
And my work is very supportive. So
That's great. That is
huge.
wonderful. And I think one of the things I always, you do have to worry about patients when they feel like they have to be there, that 9 to 5 job. And sometimes, in the workplace too, coworkers, they want to be supportive, but sometimes they don't know how to react either. And I don't
It's
know
overwhelming.
if you, yes, it's
Yeah.
overwhelming. It definitely. So I think it's great because you have a loving family and you've had that support of coworkers and
Yeah.
things like that.